This show is brought to you by United Healthcare because we believe in the power of volunteering.
Hello, this is Randy Lanham, your host for Project Volunteer. On this episode, we're going to feature the Knoxville Volunteer Fire Department. Follow along with me today as we find out about how you can volunteer in your community on another Project Volunteer. Kevin, thank you so much for meeting me here today. My cousin, Kevin, now just so you all know, this is my little cousin, but just grew up to be a lot bigger than me. So Kevin, thanks for meeting me here today.
No problem.
I have been waiting to film this show here at the Knoxville Volunteer Fire Department forever. Since I was a kid, man, I grew up, my dad and your dad, my Uncle Warnie, always firemen and other members of our family as well. I can remember growing up and them serving right here in the Knoxville Volunteer Fire Department, and I always had a dream of becoming a fireman. Now, I never did that, but actually today, I get to be a fireman for the day. But anyway, thanks for your time. Let's just start by telling the folks out there just about a volunteer fire department. They may no telling where they're watching this show at, but there's a volunteer fire department in their community, probably where they are living. Just give us an overall view of a volunteer fire department.
Well, the first thing that I'll add about volunteer fire departments, we're always looking for unique individuals that have different skill sets that can come in and help our organization go further. Volunteer fire departments basically coexist from people that live in the general community that want to put forth the effort and the time to help their neighbors.
Right.
And what we're doing is an ultimate service to all that live in their geographical boundaries because we're trying to help insurance premiums stay low. And with that, we have people who come in from all over our areas. Whenever a call comes in, they come in, we unite together as a brotherhood and work to try to solve issues. Many issues in the volunteer fire service, and it's just kind of it's a unique and awesome feeling to just be able to take somebody's bad day and make it better.
No kidding.
And try to put a smile on people's faces.
And that's something that I do remember when I was younger growing up. From time to time, if I got to see Dad come home from a fire or working a wreck or something, the joy that he had on his face being able to help people in need was priceless.
Absolutely.
And then later on, I would hear stories about people that the volunteer fire department helped out. Maybe they helped them with a house fire, or maybe they had a brush fire, maybe they was in a wreck. And hearing those stories of how they got helped, man, it was so inspirational. And that's what made me want to be a fireman when I was younger.
Yeah, it's definitely a great job. It has a lot of perks, and it does help you grow up. And it's one of those things. I think in the volunteer fire service, you probably grow up a little quicker than what you should. But the good thing about it is we're out there trying to help people, and that's the greatest gift that anybody can give. There are bad runs that end up happening too, and that's kind of the sad part. But the good thing about volunteer fire departments, and any fire department that is, the good far outweighs the bad.
Absolutely. I tell you what, y'all do so much good work. How about telling us a little bit about what it takes to become a volunteer fireman?
Well, the main thing you got to do is show up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just come up and tell your local volunteer department that you're interested in becoming a volunteer, or that you even want to look at it.
Right.
Just think about it. It's not for everybody, and we know and we get that. But one thing about it, we do have older guys that are constantly getting off. So we got to fill those voids, and we got to keep this family going. And that's the great thing about a volunteer department, or any fire department that is. It's family oriented, and we work together.
Yeah.
And even after these guys retire, they're still family. And they come up here from time to time and still share stories of back when the days of old were. And things get
back
interesting.
Back in the day stories,
Things get interesting.
For sure.
Yeah.
So they walk up, they're interested, they got to fill out some paperwork, background checks, stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And then there's quite a bit of training that goes into this, right?
Yeah, the State Fire Commission mandates 150 hours worth of training that's broke up in different categories. And once the firefighter gets those 150 hours, then they become a certified 150-hour level firefighter. Typically that takes anywhere from, could be a year to 3 years. It depends on how active and how motivated the new volunteer firefighter wants to be.
Right.
But they can knock that out by not only going to their department, but they can go to other departments. And then the good thing about the state of Kentucky, they offer trainings all throughout the Commonwealth.
Right.
We got fall schools, we got spring schools, we got state schools. and just different organizations in the fire service, they want you to come. And that's part of a brotherhood that we get to talk about too, because that's taking somebody who lives in Hazard, Kentucky, and you're going to training with them while you're here in Knoxville. And then we got people from Paducah, all the way on the other end of the state that's coming in, and they're training together. And the good thing about that is the more people that you can get, the more diversity you get, the more you learn.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Man, I cannot wait. I've been looking forward to this so much. And I understand you got a few jobs for me lined out to do.
Absolutely.
A few trainings for me to do.
Absolutely.
Man, I've been waiting for this since I was a kid, man. I feel like a kid again. Thanks, Kevin.
Hey, no
I'm looking
problem.
forward to it, buddy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Glad you're here. Okay, so what we've got here, Randy, we made sure our officer, whenever he showed up, he did the 360 size up, making sure that everything was safe. Okay, once he made sure that everything was safe, that's whenever our guys started cribbing the truck, and then our EMT made access and got inside the vehicle with the patient. That's what you see going on right now. Our EMT's talking to the patient. Our patient's a dummy. He's going to explain to the dummy the whole entire process of what's going on whenever we're extricating. Okay, now he's in there right now. We would do this in real life, we would leave him in there. But since this is training and we don't want to get anybody hurt, we're going to have to pull him out.
Gotcha.
Okay, but if this was a real live incident, he's going to stay in there with that patient. He's going to tell us no or go.
Okay, gotcha.
All right, so what your job is to do is you're going to be operating the jaws.
Okay.
They're pretty heavy, okay? The gentlemen that come up here, the two folks that come up here a while ago with the Halligan and the flathead axe made an access point right inside that door. They made it wide enough for the tip of your jaws to be able to get in there.
Okay.
And then you'll start spreading.
Gotcha.
Now, one thing to keep in mind, this takes years and years of practice to get really good at.
Right.
Okay, so don't expect for everything to just go awesome your first time.
Right.
All right?
I'll give it a shot.
It's extremely heavy. As soon as you get wore down, you let us know.
Okay.
We got plenty of guys back here. And They all love doing this stuff.
All right.
One of the best things about being a firefighter is you get to tear up stuff.
Yeah.
All right?
Yes.
All right.
Put my helmet down.
Yep. Terry's going to be our safety, so he'll load the whole entire vehicle and make sure nobody gets around us without having their shields down, okay?
Okay.
All right.
So
Shields
this
down.
I'm just testing this.
Go.
Okay.
Now, remember, your jaws are extremely powerful.
Right. Okay.
You want to come in here?
He's behind you over there too. Never let off.
Your jaws are extremely powerful, okay? So don't pin yourself. If it starts going that way, you need to step out and come over here on this side.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Try and starting there.
Okay.
But just know the feel. So go ahead and go.
Once they get the grab, kind of walk behind it and you hold it in one hand.
Okay.
Don't fight them. And don't get behind it. Wait, go with it. All right, hold. Go back together and pinch in that hole.
Okay.
Jam it in there like you jammed it in there.
Right in here.
Yep, right at the pinch point. Go with it. All right. Stop with that. Get closer to the where it's connected at.
Okay. Right here.
Right above it. There you go.
Right here?
Right in around it.
Okay.
There you go.
Ugh. Like that.
Yep.
It's getting close, ain't it?
Yep.
Right there.
Cut it. We got to set a cutter.
Okay. More time.
All right, we need a cutter now.
Okay, so we'll set those down.
Okay.
Probably behind the vehicle so nobody trips over them.
Good. Hey, dog. We'll cut it.
Have at it. That was pretty cool, though. Them suckers are heavy, dude.
But you see, once it started grabbing, I just let go with this hand because you never know which way it's going to go.
Oh, yeah.
Don't get pinched.
Yeah. Quentin, man, thank you, man, so much for being here. I'm still hot and sweaty from all that training.
It's hard work, isn't it?
Dude, it was a blast, though.
It's fun. I love it.
It was hard
It's
work, but it's a blast. And I'll tell you what, you know, as I was doing it, I'm trying to imagine, like, man, if that was a real person in there, I mean, how nervous and scared I would be. But what a fulfilling job it is to be a volunteer fireman and be able to help people in need like that.
It really is. I love what I do.
And now you've been a volunteer fireman, but you're also a professional fireman now.
That's correct.
So tell us about that. You started right here, Knoxville Fire Department, right?
I did. When I started up here whenever I was 16 years old.
Yeah.
So I started as a junior fireman up here, and I couldn't wait to turn 16 because it's when whenever that junior program came about, I was like, oh man, I get to start 2 years earlier.
Yeah.
So I couldn't wait for it. So that was like my biggest. I was looking forward to that just as much as I was driving when I turned 16 because this is what I live for.
Now you are still, these few years later, you're still a young man, but these few years later, you're still a volunteer fireman here, right?
Absolutely.
So what you've done, though, is go on. This has inspired you to become a professional fireman. So tell us about that.
It did. Like I said, I started up here and I kept wanting to go. I fell in love with what I did. So I wanted to do that I knew at a young age I wanted to do that as a career. Mm-hmm. And when I got my taste in it up here, I was like, oh, there's definitely no way. I said, there's nothing else I want to do. So took all my training and stuff that I learned up here cause we had some great instructors, some great people, and several career firemen have come through up here too.
Right.
So took what I had learned from them, and I went and got my degree in fire science, applied for Davis County, and after a couple tries got on out there.
Yeah.
It's a competitive market. So
yeah, but you're doing it, man. You're
I
living
love
your
what I do.
dream. You're a professional firefighter now, still volunteering, which that to me is way cool, y'all. I mean, here Quentin grew up around this area, volunteer fireman, go on to be a professional fireman, but still volunteering his time on the side to be able to help the Knoxville Fire Department.
That's the best part about it. You're helping around up here the people that I grew up around, and you know, it's a big family community up here anyway. So
absolutely, it always has been. Now tell the folks out there, you know, some might be a little bit hesitant. Oh, I don't know if I want to be a volunteer fireman or not. What would you tell them?
Go for it. If you have any interest in it at all, pursue that, because once you get your foot in the door, we're our own family up here.
Yeah.
And there's nothing else there's no way to describe it until you experience it yourself. There's really not.
Just kind
so
of
you
a
come in,
brotherhood,
it's
right?
a brotherhood.
Sisterhood,
you have
family.
We have fun, just like out there.
Yeah.
We had fun, and you're sitting there, we're learning. You don't even realize it, but you're taking your skills, you're practicing those, and if you have any interest in it, go for it, because volunteers for the department, they are dwindling.
There's how many volunteer? There was approximately all over the state of Kentucky.
I think there's around 860 volunteer fire departments.
So you out there watching, you can become a volunteer fireman.
We need you actually.
Yes.
It's starting to hurt, so volunteers they're hard to come by, and we would love to have them.
So if you're thinking about it right now, come be a volunteer fireman. They'll give you the training. It's like joining a family. Yeah. And I know the training might seem like a lot, but you gain so much knowledge. You gain this family feeling. You get to help the community that you live in. So encourage anybody out there, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Like we said, around 860 volunteer fire departments. So there's one around. I mean, not be, like right here where we're at. So, but go to your local fire station and talk to them and see if they're taking applications. And it's a lot of fun. It's rewarding, and there's no other feeling like it. There's really not.
Well, I know I've had a good time hanging out here today. I'm still, again, hot and sweaty from getting out of that suit, but man, it was a blast, and I appreciate you all letting me hang out with you.
Thank you, Randy.
I'm glad you were up here. It's been a good time. Thanks, buddy.
It's been a blast. Thank you.
So, Granddad, can you start by telling me how many years did you serve at the Knoxville Fire Department?
24.
24 years.
Yeah.
Through all those 24 years, of course, both of your sons became firemen.
Yeah.
You have grandchildren that are firemen.
Well, Charlie was too.
Charlie, another one of your sons?
3 sons, yeah.
And then you had grandchildren that are firemen today.
Right. Yeah.
And then you even have one great-grandchild,
Yeah.
right, that is a fireman today.
Yeah.
That's 4 generations. So, being a fireman around here in Knoxville was just something that a lot of people were drawn to do, right? It's kind of a family tradition for us, right?
Yeah.
I remember growing up when I was young, seeing all of you all on the fire department, and I wanted to be a fireman so bad when I was young.
Yeah.
And today I got to be a fireman for a day, so I had a blast down there.
Yeah.
So I got to live one of my dreams,
Yeah.
being able to go up there and train with all those guys. It was so much fun. So tell us about, Granddad, when you was in the fire department. How was it? How was it? I know it was a lot of training, a lot of work, but was it worth it to be able to help folks?
I remember we went on a call one night. I won't mention his name, but it was zero weather, and that guy's house was afar, and he got out and they took him somewhere else. He wasn't able to do anything, and it was so cold. The trucks, the water froze up that night.
Wow.
There's ice all over where we had it, froze up. And it finally got that thing where it put, anyway, we finally got it out.
So it's a tough volunteer opportunity, but it's worth every minute.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds
Yeah,
like it to
yeah.
me.
It makes you really feel good when you go up to a house and hit a fire and you put it out in a little bit. But it makes you feel bad when you leave there and that chimney is all that's left. That's when it hurts you.
Yeah, but when your men
But when you
are
go,
trained and you can see them doing their work and they're doing it right, that makes you proud too.
Yeah.
You know, and they get in there and, you know, like Bill said, they'll bend over backward for you. They can make you or break you.
Speaking of your men, now, every one of y'all was the chief at one time. Is that correct?
I never was.
You never was. So you served for 24 years, but wasn't the chief. Okay.
Huh?
Chief of the fire department.
No, I never was the chief. No,
Still, you served for 24 years.
Yeah.
Right? And you two guys were both the chief for a while, so you had a lot of men that listened to you all and looked up to you. And like you said, it must feel really good when you know all the training, all the hard work that went into training those men and women, that it's paid off when you get to see them in action, right?
Yep. That's a good feeling.
Thing about running a fire department when you're the chief, I always told them you have to run it with iron fist, but you have to have a white glove. You know, I mean, you don't want to hurt anybody, but you do want them to train and to be the best that they possibly can. And that's the same way with equipment. You know, when you've got this kind of equipment, you got to take care of it. And that's where your officers come in, you know. They take care of that. And when I was chief, you was about, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 years old. But I've taken you and your brothers on runs with me where I'd be out doing something and y'all would be in the truck with me. And I'd go on a run and y'all would be staying in the truck while I was
I remember
on the
that.
farm around.
I remember that. That probably was part of the influence that I had wanting to be. I can remember sitting in that truck wanting to be out there so bad and be a part of it. But I couldn't be, obviously. But I remember looking out those windows, sure wanting to be a part of that. Wanting to be a part of something that helps people in need. I mean, there's something, you know, we're called to help the people in need. And when we can do that, where there's so many different volunteer opportunities. And y'all have made it clear that, to me anyway, that volunteer fire department, it ain't for everybody, right?
No.
It's not for everybody. It's a tough job.
Yeah.
But still, the reward it takes for all that time and all that training, when you finally get to make that run and you get to help, maybe even save a life, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. That's has to be very rewarding to be able to do that.
Yeah.
What I think about it too, you don't get a penny out of it. You don't want one.
Right.
You get the feeling. You get paid through the feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. What would y'all tell anybody that might be watching? Maybe they're a little bit hesitant about. Maybe they think, well, you know, maybe I want to be a volunteer fireman. Maybe I don't. What would you tell them, Warnie?
what would you tell somebody?
I tell them to talk to one of the volunteers or one of the career firefighters, and you can air your feelings, listen to some of the stories. Some of the war stories, can really, they talked about when Clemmy had his accident, he was in Louisville. Well, they claimed he was talking out of his head about the stories he was telling about this little bitty town he was from. And the nurse told everybody, said, he's hallucinating, he's just telling stories. And of course, Jackie stood right up and said, no, he's not. That happened. They couldn't believe it happened in a little old town like we live at,
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that go on, and, those, people just, like I said, if you want to be involved, if you want to be a part of your community, you want to help your community, then talk to some of the volunteers and give it a try. You don't have to sign your life away, just try it. We've had people that come on, make one bad run, they just say, well, this is not for me. Mm-hmm. And you can understand that,
Right.
It's not for everybody.
Right.
But if you got the drive and the heart and you really want to help your community, it's a good organization.
What about you, Granddad? What would you say?
That's what I'd say, yeah. Yeah, I'd like to see anybody try it. They like it. They'll never regret it.
Yeah. Dad, what would you tell somebody?
Well, it's worth it just to see when you help somebody, or maybe, which I have never got the chance to actually say that I've really saved a life, but I've always tried. And if you do, look what you've done. I mean, that would be something. And you're out there trying, and it's all in your heart. You're giving it all you can. So, I mean, that's got to be a good feeling. It's always a good feeling for me. Even when you boys would ride in my old pickup truck, and when we'd go real far, y'all'd sit there, I'd pull y'all off the road, and then y'all might be sitting there for 2 hours in that old truck waiting for me. And after the run, we'd go back home and go back to stripping tobacco or whatever we had to do.
Yeah. I'll tell you again, I just want to thank you all for your service. Your inspiration to me when I was a kid growing up, I told you all I wanted to be a fireman. I wanted to be just like you. I never did do that. Earlier today, I got to experience a little bit of it. But even though I didn't go on to be a fireman, you all's influence on me, getting to see you serve, influenced my life in more ways than you realize, because it put a sense in me to want to serve. Now, that wasn't going on to be a fireman, obviously, but the rest of my life and still today, I want to serve others in need by seeing your example that you set. So I appreciate you all very much. I'm just one person. I can't imagine how many people that you all have influenced all the years that you served. People like me, some of the younger ones or older ones, or just people in general that got to see you all serving unselfishly, giving a lot of time, and waking up in the middle of the night. That's inspirational. That's inspirational to me. It's inspirational to other people that get to watch and listen. And just so I want to thank you. You instilled that in me, and it still lives in me today. I love serving, and I believe that comes from growing up around watching you guys serve the way that you did. So thank you. And thanks for talking to me on camera. Why don't y'all give him a big wave? Bye.
Thank you so much for watching today. We hope we have educated and inspired you to get out and volunteer in your community today. We'll see you next time on another Project Volunteer.
This show is brought to you by United Healthcare because we believe in the power of volunteering.